Business Channel.
Hello there, I'm Nadine Blaney. Welcome to Media Week. Ahead on the program, News Corp unveils its quarterly results as its Australian business embarks on cost-cutting. And Seven West Media Chair Kerry Stokes defends traditional media at this week's AGM. We'll have more on those stories coming up, but first, Hugh Marks has been pretty busy in his first year. This is Chief Executive of Nine Entertainment Company. Let's bring in my co-host, James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week. So yeah, this is the fourth significant event, James, that Nine's held for advertisers in like less than a year.
Yeah, well, just over 6 months actually. Yeah, they've had like a mid-season up front. They had they launched their big summer of cricket, which has just got underway, and they rebranded nine.com.au, where we first spoke to Hugh Marks earlier this year. So, and this is now their big upfront. It's been the flashiest event so far this year. But they brought out all their talent, had all the big crowd of advertisers just showing off what they've got for 2017.
Yeah, so new shows updating on Nine now, new branding as well for the website. You spoke with Hugh Marks. Let's take a listen.
Okay.
Our business is changing, the market's changing, the audiences are changing, and we have to put forward our strengths, our assets, what we're good at and what we'll be good at in the future. So I think it's just a great opportunity to come to the market and show the confidence that we feel for the future.
We started the year speaking to you, I think, at the 9now.com sort of relaunch, if you like, the rebranding of that business. Since then, you've also had like a mid-year up front almost, wasn't it, which coincided with the launch of the summer of cricket?
Yeah, I mean, it's well documented. We had a bumpy start to the year in terms of ratings performance, so I think it was important for us to get out there early and be very confident about how we were going to address that and the shows that we were going to do that with. And it's also a little bit of a recognition that, the market is changing. Advertisers want more integration rather than just spot buying. So being out early and confident, and basically when they're planning their schedules, I think is an advantage. So that's why we're a bit earlier than what we normally would, but today is the opportunity to bring it all together.
People have talked a lot of the assets that Nine's divested over the years, but you talked a little bit today about the whole of the business presentation. You've still got a fair bit other than just the vanilla or linear TV, if you like.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind still having a few of those assets that we've divested. But, I think, again, it shows the power of a business like ours to be able to build things if we're strategic and if we're very clear about what we want to achieve. So, yeah, we've still got good assets, but, I think we're back in that space as well of building other assets that will contribute to the business in the future. So we've done it in the past, and I'm confident we can do it again in the future.
You've already spoken how you need to really improve the start of 2017 with the TV ratings. Just reinforce this again, how you'll kick that off in 2017.
Well, I think last year we went with a whole bunch of differentiated product. 1 hour's competing against what is a very successful show on Seven, which is My Kitchen Rules, a major free-to-air powerhouse. So, we're going to bring audiences to our network and to the platform. We've got to compete more on an equal footing. So, Married at First Sight, which has been a very successful show for us, we're extending it. There are always lots of more story points to tell. More couples, bigger environment, more format points. I think it'll be a great show. It's got the potential to compete very well.
You had a couple of slides there of how you've managed to turn around the year ratings-wise, and you've had a pretty good finish to the end of the year. Just recap some of those numbers for us.
Demographics is what's important to advertisers. So we're very much in that 25, 54, 16 to 39 and grocery buyers and children. Those are the ones that we focus on. We're actually leading, when you take all 4 channels, 6 a.m. to midnight, we're actually leading in those demographics over the year. In prime time, we're actually leading in all but the 16 to 39s, where it's pretty close. So, Nine's remained very competitive, even with the bumpy start that we had to the year. In fact, we've won in those all-important demos. So, prime time Channel 9 performance is where we're looking to lift next year.
Seven is always very big, talking about its consistency, how it's, always wants to be number one, is number one. But you reminded people today that you guys are pretty good when it comes to consistency, and some of your, the way you add up some of your audiences, you're the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, 7 to 9 are both strong businesses built around great content pipelines. So, again, strength in the free-to-air segment, which is great for all of us. I think, you want an environment where all boats are being lifted. But yeah, I think 9 is very much focused on, and we did a big presentation with our news and current affairs brands today. The depth of the people we have, their experience, their quality, their ability, particularly in live breaking news. That's when people turn to 9. So that's a great strength of our business. And the depth of the sports expertise that we have across rugby league and cricket as well. Really important franchises. And, so those two things, there's 3 pillars in the business, and news and sport will always be strong. And entertainment is where we're going to, lift into next year.
You mentioned Married at First Sight. It's going to be an Endemol Shine taking over that format for you. And you've also got them working on a couple of other projects, I think Ninja Warrior, and you've got a food show coming on board.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have proven themselves to be excellent, at producing the biggest shows on television. So I've had long-standing relationships with the Fennessys and their crew over many years in various, lifestyle guises in my business world. So, working with them, it's an easy relationship and, one that we can have corridor meetings and dream up great concepts that hopefully we can bring forward to execution, with really great shows that'll be great in Australia and even better if they can travel around the world. And that's something that, I'm focusing on as well for us. We've ordered this year 2 original formats, which is, rare for local networks. It's a risk. The payoffs, if we get it right, will be even bigger.
Are you a bit concerned about having a food format when there's already some very successful food shows elsewhere? I'm thinking MasterChef, My Kitchen Rules. Do you need to give them some space and make sure you pick your time carefully?
I think one of the things that was very important to us is finding a food format that had a real point of difference, and going to that family food fight concept, which was, the title says it. It'll be a bit more multicultural. It'll be that, family pride from the heart, from home. I think that gives it a sufficient point of difference to say, yes, it's food, but it's about families. So, I'm confident that, that's a great choice for us to make.
Working with screen time again too, and probably what they do best, that crime genre.
Yeah, again, important for us. We're the business that should be working with all the best in the business. So, again, I have that long history of having worked with or for, or some of them have worked for me over years, and so knowing their strengths and what they bring to, can bring to our business, I think is a strength that I've brought to the network. So we're working with all the best in the business at what they're best at. What can go wrong? It's only television.
So that was 9 CEO Hugh Marks at the company's up front. Now, also there was Helen McCabe. She left the Australian Women's Weekly in January this year, where she was editor-in-chief and was subsequently appointed head of lifestyle for the recently relaunched 9.com.au. Also revealed that 9 Honey was a new umbrella brand for all the lifestyle, and really wanting to tap into that mums market as well. Yeah,
they're going after that big time, and it's, as I think we mentioned to her in the piece, it's going to be a very crowded market, lots of people targeting that. Mamma Mia's done a great job of really building a significant business in that space, but, Pacific's going after it with their digital women's brands. News Corp's launching a big new women's brand early next year, and now Helen McCabe taking 9.com.au down that path too.
Okay, let's listen to your interview with her.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying this new phase. It's a bit like when I first joined the Weekly. It feels all really new and very, very foreign, but it's such a sharp learning curve that I'm finding it just so exciting every day. And for me, the most interesting part about it, and the 9 people joke a bit, I didn't sort of fully appreciate how integrated the digital business and the television business are already. So I'm spending a lot of time with old friends at Channel 9, and that's been great fun. And today's great fun, just hanging out with everybody.
Tell us about what was there, 9 Honey, and what it's going to become.
Yeah, so 9 Honey was the brand for our fashion and beauty vertical, and everyone sort of felt it wasn't quite right that honey didn't sort of speak to fashion and beauty, and certainly not high-end. Our fashion and beauty site's a little bit aspirational. So rather than find a new brand and start from scratch and bring in the consultants and get everyone's opinion and, come up with life or something like that, I just have amplified the Honey brand and made Nine Honey the overarching brand. It's the umbrella brand. It's like a homepage, and what was Honey has become Nine Style, which is just a better fit, I think.
Yeah, and you sort of got bigger ambitions in terms of the size of the audience and maybe other offerings in the market that you might go after, mightn't be the wrong word, but you might compete with better.
Yes, I mean, we are ambitious, but I'm a little bit loath to kind of talk about it or even actually think about it. All of my ambition was to get to today, to get the site launched, to get everyone on the same page, to get everyone talking about Nine Honey, and then like tomorrow, literally go back to the drawing board, look at it again, look at rebuilding it, go to market and ask people what they think, and start from scratch. So yes, we are very ambitious for it. It's a product that's about scale. We need to be big. We're already very big as 9.com.au. So we want to leverage that audience and leverage I think it's something like 7 million women that watch Nine TV into Nine Honey. And that's, for me, the exciting and challenging part of the role. But I'm kind of obviously reluctant to put any numbers and timeframes around it because I don't want to, have to answer your questions next year when I haven't made them.
Are you learning things yourself about digital that you thought you might have understood with what you were doing at the Weekly, but you realised that, gee whiz, there are other ways or different things we can do?
Yeah, look, it's really interesting. The truth is, and I remember when I moved from newspapers to magazines, I said a story is a story, regardless of what platform you tell it on. And I think very much the same. I haven't changed my view on that. Everything that I'm learning and have seen in digital so far shows that a good story is the thing that matters. Good stories, good video. Let's not talk about content. Let's talk about good stories and good video content. They really work. So that's nice to be from that perspective. For me, that's nice to find that out and have that confirmed in terms of 9.com.au. But am I learning? Oh, yeah, extraordinarily. I mean, every day I have to say to someone from the dev team, okay, right, slow down. Let's just take that back. What are we talking about? But it's not as hard as I might have imagined. And I've not shied away from hiring people who don't have digital expertise, because I do think if you know what a story is and you know how to tell a story really well and you know how to break a story, i.e. as in Kerry Elstubb from A Current Affair, she's not a digital native, but I do think that's a really great skill to have in the digital space about now.
It's part of the plan, bringing in contributors that already have big digital footprints, if you like, with their content?
Well, in terms of the resources we have at Nine, yes. So we've got a team of journalists all over the country and all over the world contributing to the 24-hour TV news cycle. So certainly my plan is to start to have conversations with them, bring in their video and bring in their expertise. If they've just done a massive story and they don't have an outlet to write, at the moment they don't have an outlet to write for. But we do, actually. So it's about making them rethink that and how they get to tell their story in a different way. But we're certainly, as a business, looking at the entire women's market, and there'll be things we'll want to do in addition to this. This is just stage one. Very much so. This is stage one.
It's going to be a very competitive space, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of niche, everything from bloggers to websites serving specific needs. Then there's bigger players like Mia Freedman, what she's done with Mamma Mia. News Corp is getting into that space next year. Felicity Harley's joining them for something maybe not dissimilar to what you guys are going to be doing.
Well, I didn't really know any of that when I took this role and when I first started talking to Hugh about it, but I'm not surprised. It's quite logical that you would want to appeal to a segment of the audience that makes up to 85% of all the purchasing power, makes up to 85% of all the purchasing decisions, I should say. So that's quite big, and we know the clients really want to play in that space. We've all actually in some ways been a bit slow off the mark in entering that space, and Mia would probably admit that, because she's been at the forefront of it for so long and done such an extraordinarily good job. And the more time I spend in this space, the more I can see the genius of what Mia does. But so there were always going to be people that were going to start to move into the space. But it's not dissimilar to magazines or newspapers. You just have to be good at what you do, and the race will be on, but hopefully we'll be competitive. And I think the thing about Nine that I like, that I think gives us a competitive edge, is our video. And the preparedness of the business to really get involved in the digital side. That's the thing that I like and the thing I'm clinging to at the moment as an indication of a chance of being, making this really work.
And so that was Helen McCabe speaking with you, James Manning, from Mediaweek a little bit earlier on this week. Let's stick with Nine, shall we? Because Nine, of course, has announced that it is launching 15 regional bulletins with SCA in the East Coast markets for 2017. That's quite a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's the costs are going to be borne by Nine, not their regional broadcaster, because when they did the affiliation deal, there was much chat about, oh, gee whiz, Southern Cross Austereo are going to be paying 50% of all the ad revenue to Nine to licence the content, but that content now includes the regional news bulletins. So they'll get that hour. So they're going to be shown, I think, between 6 and 7, so they'll replace the Cap City bulletins that those people are currently getting in those regional markets, but there will only be 3 newsreaders for those 15 bulletins, so they'll be carefully editing that content, I think, and tailoring it all a little bit different for each of those communities. But the first one of those is going to be Canberra, and I think that comes online in February 2017.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes out for that one. Busy week this week in Media Land. Seven held its AGM. Chairman Kerry Stokes was speaking. What was the big takeaway? Yeah,
he was just, warning telling the ad market, look, don't get too carried away with moving all your money out of traditional media into digital media. There's still, still great cut through on television. Print still has significant offerings too. Position your money carefully between digital and traditional media, if you like. And then Tim Warner also gave a bit of an outlook, and he said, look, the ad market's very short. We're not going to meet the upper side of our forecasts for the new financial year, and we think we'll be at the lower end of those forecasts.
Yeah, and really banking on sports for growth. Let's talk ratings, shall we?
Sure.
So this is ratings for the week 45, and this is free to air. And taking a look at, we're back at Melbourne Cup time.
Melbourne Cup time, yeah. They cut up their afternoon of Melbourne Cup coverage. Look, really tiny audiences for the rest of that Melbourne Cup carnival. It's just that Cup day where everybody wants to watch. The other end of the top 10 is, it looks all news except for the block there coming in at number 10, and the final episode of that for the year will be broadcast Sunday night.
Right, so let's go to subscription television ratings again for week 45. A place to call home on Showcase, leading the pack.
Yeah, look, doing very well for them. A-League there, which Fox Sports will be happy to see there. Some good numbers for that in the initial start of the season. Look, some motor racing. They've just renewed their contract for MotoGP, so that's good. They get that in the top 10.
And a couple of premieres there as well, The Last Witch Hunter and The Revenant.
Yeah, movie's still a big attraction for those Foxtel subscribers.
Okay, James is back on the other side of the break. We'll talk News Corp Australia embarking on a new cost-cutting programs. All the details coming up.
%0 on purchases with 0% on balance transfers from NAB for 15 months made it easier for Lisa to say yes to Laura's wedding. Because life happens.
NAB credit cards. Apply now. Nighttime is my time with Olay Regenerist Overnight Miracle. From first drop, it helps renew your skin. And used with Olay's most advanced cream, it boosts skin renewal in just 5 nights. For firmer skin with visibly reduced wrinkles, search Olay Overnight Miracle.
Meet Bernadette. She's picky about her produce. That's why we picked her as one of our official online pickers. The people who personally pick your shopping in store when you shop online at Woolworths. And right now, you can get free delivery on your first shop. So go online and let one of our pickers do the shopping for you. Woolworths online shop, where only the pickiest pick your shopping.
That's why Woolies picks me.
New Oreo Thins. A thin new twist on the Oreo you love.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own stunning website. Choose from hundreds of customizable templates or start from scratch. Drag and drop a stunning full-width strip and try a video background. You can use a gallery to showcase your images in the highest quality online and add dynamic 3D effects all on your own. With the Wix website builder, it's truly amazing what you can do. Wix.com. Create your stunning website today.
When you have a dream to start your own business, you need more than just a good idea and a can-do attitude. You need a great education to set the foundation and help you take your idea to the world. You need great teachers and mentors to help you be the best you can be. It takes lots of hard work and many skills. And one name helped me make my name, APM at Torrens University, Australia.
Travelling or living overseas? Now you can take us with you. Australia Channel is news, sport, business, top stories and public affairs. 5 channels live and on demand. On desktop, mobile and tablet. Register now at australiachannel.com.au.
This program brought to you by MCN, delivering high-performance partnerships around you.
Hello there. Welcome back to the program. Our co-host, James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week, is here. James, let's start by checking in on the radio ratings. We do have, I think it's survey 7 out there.
Correct, yeah. The penultimate survey of 2016, Nadine.
All right.
Big one for the Macquarie Media, their talk radio stations, in particular Sydney and Melbourne. 2GB, 100 consecutive survey wins. Another big milestone for Alan Jones, Ray Hadley as well. Alan Jones going off air, he revealed this week, to get some serious back surgery. So he's got another week or two and then he's going to take quite a long break.
We wish him well, but he is unstoppable, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Smooth, still number 1 FM in Sydney. In Melbourne, yeah, look, Fox had a great survey. Hamish and Andy in particular. Fifi, Box and her colleagues there in the morning. And the Hit Network was top 3 right around Australia, except in Sydney for Southern Cross Stereo.
And Nova doing well in Brisbane, that's 106.9.
Yeah, look, Ashkip and Lutzi got back into a number 1 spot in breakfast. Nova's kept its top spot there for the last few surveys. Hit doing reasonably well at number 3 FM up there for them too. 4KQ slipping into the top 5.
And in Adelaide.
Breakfast did really well. Yeah, look, Mix dropped a little bit in Adelaide, but the ARN brand over there is so strong that it didn't really affect it. It's still well ahead of the market. Nova hit up a lot there. 5AA, not too bad, particularly in breakfast. They'd like the overall share up a little bit better, I think, though.
And when we get out west, we've got Mix 94.5, the number 1 station, and Clairsy, Matt and Kimba, the number 1 breakfast program as well.
Yeah, look, they're well ahead of the market, and the top 2 stations are both Southern Cross Stereo there, so that it's been 4 years since those stations were both 1 and number 2, so it was a great week for them in Perth.
And in radio news, we have radio host Anna Dare quitting her role after making a Dream World gaffe.
Yeah, look, they suspended it after they did that. It was the morning after, I think, the tragedy there. And I feel a bit for her because, you know, there's pressure on those radio teams to be really funny.
Edgy.
It's 3 hours every day. You've got to be edgy, cut through. You know, you've got to be quick thinking and you make a slip up. And I think they said she resigned. She thought, look, that was the best move for her. They said, look, they'd probably take it back. But she said, no, look, it's. I think this is the best decision for me. I don't know what she'll try and do next. But, yeah, it can be a tough gig.
Okay, let's move into another space of media, which we love. News Corp updating on its quarterly performance. It's really ramping up cost-cutting efforts. So do we have any idea of where the most severe cost-cutting will come through? What are the details?
In Australia, I think they're looking to save $40 million, so it's a pretty significant chunk of change, isn't it? It's sort of a staff freeze, I think. They're looking at all their jobs that they're advertising and find, look, do we need all these people? So it's really only mission-critical people who'll be hired for new hires. They've talked about a sort of redundancies, offering that. They haven't sort of confirmed that will happen yet, but they're just really going to, I think they've had a meeting with editors, just really going to see how they can really pare back. Of course, they've already been doing that, you know, significantly. So they're just taking it to a new level.
Well, this is industry-wide, isn't it? And it's not, Foxtel, I guess, is not immune either.
No, absolutely. Peter Tonner came out and said this week, look, there's some significant people who are going to be leaving the business, which is, you know, a real shame. They revealed that Presto investment probably cost them about $20 million. So they've... they're just going to focus on activities that really, are core to our central strategy.
Let's talk Huffington Post, actually HuffPost Australia, because Fairfax is getting in the mix. How is that all going to work?
Yeah, well, it's been a JV here, and they haven't had a sales team because they had a deal with media agency which used to position the ads for them on the site. That's come to an end, and so now they've got to go out to market. They're building their own commercial sales team. Look, the numbers have been okay, and we never see it in that top 10 that we report on of the news sites in Australia, but it's not far outside of that. So, they've been building a pretty big audience, but now they figure they've got to really try and cash in on it and get some of their own advertising up there.
James, it would be remiss for me to have you here talking about media and not mentioning Donald Trump, President-elect of the United States.
Something happened yesterday.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of navel-gazing amongst media circles about why so many pundits got it wrong. I mean, just not tapping into, I guess, the zeitgeist out there.
Yeah, if you like, and it's not a niche audience that they probably missed, is it? It's the big audience out there that, maybe media just focuses too much on their own interests, their own, I don't know, sectors, their own cliques.
Well,
that's the criticism.
I was
being
listening
made
to
of
somebody
them.
on Wall Street this morning saying, look, when you live in an urban centre, when you live in New York, you oftentimes live in a cocoon. And I think that media will be looking to get out of the cocoon to a certain degree and really tap into some of those other forces that are out there.
There's probably a wider message, isn't there, for media in general when they consider who their audiences are, where they're targeting. Gee whiz, just go a bit wider, go a bit deeper into the communities.
You are your audience.
It's easy to say, but it's probably not. It's not always easy to track as you look at how the polls all got it wrong.
And I think as well, it speaks to tapping into diversity in the media as well. But this is a huge conversation. We can't get into it all. James, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Nadine.
James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week. That's all that we have time for from the team here. Thanks for your company.